I would like to ask about the EU budget and the Ignalina decommissioning. The EU is planning to allocate 3 times less for the closure of the Ignalina nuclear power plant than Lithuania asks, and it is proposed to stop financing the decommissioning in 2017 altogether. Our Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Žubalis, stated yesterday that it is unacceptable to start inventing new assistance deadlines such as 2017, as it runs counter to the fundamental EU law. The minister also said that the intensity of decommissioning process will depend directly on the sums from the European Union. Does that mean that Lithuania could stop decommissioning of Ignalina?
It is an interesting point. Just today I tried to get an answer. Is it possible technically or not to speak about practically? But first I see the problem not for Lithuania only, but for European Union as well. If European Union lacks of budgetary income and money for all planned expenditures, it goes considering austerity measures. Now it is going not about member states austerity, but of all union austerity, and cutoffs from expenditure or cohesion funds or assistance to agriculture, and some special programs, as closure of Ignalina plant is a special program, negotiated, agreed and fixed in our accession treaty. And when there are talks now that conditions of accession can be unilaterally changed by European Union or European Commission on behalf of Union, it raises a question what I put yesterday to Commissioner Lewandowski. As a step which is detrimental for member state, the blow coming from the very union to a member state just recovering from European crisis of trustfulness and finances, and it is then a blow not to trustfulness of the union itself, or the very union. I did not get any answer, direct answer only, that consideration that cutoffs are needed, and Lithuania is treated not the worst fashion, and Lithuania has to make a choice from where this money is cut off, from what our European income, which should be cut off. Now you know, and everyone knows about what's going. Promised and needed assistance for the closure of Ignalina nuclear plant under our accession treaty now is proposed to be cut off greatly until the less than 1/3 of money requested, needed and requested. And to that not only the sum is so diminished, but also the arbitrarily introduced a date of the end of that assistance. Not only the sum, but also the time when there will be no more assistance. If needs are not covered, it is problem of the Lithuania itself. That looks badly, and I said about it. It will come as a fertilizer for a new anti-European feelings, totally unnecessary feelings of that sort, and disappointments among the people. I am pro-European. I would like to avoid such a failure of European Union and following criticism. Of course, now Union is meeting a lot of criticism in unsuccessful management, banking, auditing, and other systems. And the great improvements are planned, of course, great changes, and some countries which we are living not in accord with income, real income, and even not very fairly. Now they are undergoing those measures of austerity and a protest from the common people, which don't understand maybe that they have been given more before, more as it was possible, and it is to be paid now. But the common people think always that why, if it was possible in the past, why not be continued? So there are difficulties in many countries, but in our case, Lithuania was not so much guilty of European crisis as others. And Lithuania is trying consciously to take a burden by its own. But the position of European Commission about expenditure for the commissioning of Ignalina is not very fair. Even getting into understanding that they lack of money indeed. But there are billions and billions put to cover failures of the past somewhere, and when our needs, and even being agreed in advance, a little drop of all it only. I hope that it can be yet reconsidered in some part, or in some points of view, to say about the terms. Why this assistance should be closed in 2014 or 17? Why? There is no provision in our accession treaty. about any date. Of course, there are no real sum also, but there is formula about covering of expenses needed for the closure. So we will continue, I hope. Our leadership of our state will continue negotiating and insisting on more just decision. Maybe to prolong the time. Maybe consider that shortage which is now being introduced as a temporary. And European Union is in need. We may understand it, as our pensioners understood that the country is in need, but country promised to compensate later. I would like to see my country as a pensioner of European Union who is promised to be compensated later.